Good morning. It's great to see everyone. Full disclosure, this is my first Elevate. And, I walk through the floor and I see all the customers, all the partners, analysts, different people, and you can literally feel the energy in the room. It's an amazing feeling, especially from where I sit. It makes my job really easy. Before we jump into things, Ron asked a question yesterday, and he said, how many people are using AI in their work? And he said about 90% raised their hand. I was one of those people. For those of you that heard the song that came on when I walked in, probably some of you know it, maybe not, Fleetwood Mac, Monday Morning. There was a reason I put that in when I was coming on, because one of the first things I did when I started at Monday, because I am a music buff, is I said, I bet there's a lot of songs with Monday in the title. So I went to ChatGPT. I said, share with me the most popular songs with Monday. Well, I'm just here to tell you, I went down an hour rabbit hole engaging with ChatGPT about what are the best songs, which ones are uplifting, which ones are not. I'm here to tell you there are zero that talk in a good way about Monday. So anyway, so Aaron, wherever you are, that's what I'm doing with ChatGPT. Anyway, I'm also here to tell you what we're really doing with AI at Monday, and I think it's important. But before we get started, Sharon's going to make me put this slide up. So read it real quick, nod your head. Okay, we're good. You heard yesterday about our agents, right? We're available to the market now. And you might ask yourself, how did that come about? Obviously, we saw a need in the market for this technology. But what makes Monday different is we use our own technology. A lot of the technology we innovate and develop comes as an output of how we run our business. We see a need in the market, we address that need, and then when we know it's great, we release it to the broader market. So when we launched these AI agents, I was a little skeptical, and I'll tell you why. A couple reasons. One, I knew it would be effective, but I just wasn't sure how effective it would be. And it's because I believe in sales, you deal in nuance. And could an AI agent have that capacity? So that was one. And of course, I told Daniel at the time, I said, listen, Daniel, if sales was science, engineers could do it. And he said, hold my beer. That's how we came about with these AI agents, right? So we launched it very quickly. We iterated a little bit. But why was that so interesting? It was interesting because we could show up in front of customers the way they wanted us to show up, right? The right persona, the right expertise, capture all of that information in a very efficient way. And what does that look like? Well, this is the sales funnel, right? We can now do all the things sales done in a very efficient way at unlimited scale. So if you think about how you move up market, and at Monday, we do have a great opportunity, and it's a little bit unique in the market in the fact that we have so many opportunities that come in that we just don't have enough people to provide a consistent experience to every one of those customers, and most importantly, a very responsive experience for those customers. I'll tell you a quick story. I started at Monday, and one of the first things I did, I realized I needed some help with something. And I reached out to a particular vendor, and I did this on purpose. Obviously, in my seat, I like to understand how vendors deal with us as much as we deal with them. So I went online, I said, contact sales. I gave my phone number, my kids' names, my social security number, when I was available, everything, because I wanted them to call. They have still not called. And that's very aggravating. And I said, I never want that to happen at Monday, because we cherish every one of our potential customers and obviously cherish every one of our customers, and we want to provide a great experience from the moment we contact you till you're deployed and ongoing. So The other reservation we had with deploying these agents was there is always going to be apprehension with something new and disruptive, but especially, in my opinion, with sales. To the point I made earlier, we deal in nuance. Could you really provide a conversation where the customer trusted that AI agent like they would a human? Could you give them the description, the feedback, the things that they were looking for, the tone that they were looking for? And by the way, there's obviously always going to be apprehension because people think it's going to remove their job. So when I share this statistic with you, it's surprising, but then again, it's not when I really think about it. And we'll get into that, the main reason of this, in a second. So if you think about everything as an SDR does, a sales rep does, there's a lot. And these things take a lot of time. They qualify leads, they're responsive to their questions, they generate a quote, they prepare meetings, they facilitate the meetings, they aggregate people to go present at these meetings and prepare all of these things. We can now do that for every one of our customers in a matter of minutes. We can take a call, respond to it, schedule a meeting, surmise the conversation, load it into CRM. The rep wakes up the next morning and there's work already been done. They have a live, warm opportunity that's highly qualified based on all of these things. And all of these things are done in a very consistent way, in a way that the customer trusts us. And that's the key word. Because by nature, we don't trust something new. We don't trust something that's disruptive. And that lies the challenge we have in a sales organization. Why do I say that? Because we internally need to trust it before we put it in front of you. And now we have the confidence, the utmost confidence, to provide the same value we're getting from our technology to you to make your business that much better. Should have the video here, right?
You've got leads coming in, sales targets, and a funnel that never sleeps. There's simply no way your reps can call everyone, and consistency starts to slip. Enter the SDR agent, a fully capable SDR that picks up the phone the moment a lead comes in, making sure the right people always get the call, and your hottest leads rise to the top. Setup takes 2 clicks. Define when calls trigger and upload a knowledge file with your company details and qualification criteria. Here's a new lead, Danielle from Next to Retail. Her details appear instantly on the sales board in Monday CRM. The SDR agent, Chris, calls right away, even outside your working hours. Every lead gets a call while it's still warm.
So you're looking for a venue for 200 people in April, with networking as a top priority. Let's book you for Thursday at 2 p.m. with our strategist.
That sounds great.
The call is transcribed, summarized, and the meeting is booked. And when 10 more leads arrive, the SDR agent calls them all in parallel. And every customer gets a fast, seamless, and high-quality experience. And your sales rep walks into the next call with all the context they need and can finally focus on what they do best, selling. The SDR agent, always on, always setting you up for success.
The most powerful thing about this technology from where I sit and how I appreciate what this does, it gives me unlimited capacity. There's no way that I can provide a consistent experience with 300,000 potential leads, right, and give them a high-quality engagement and respond to them with a 2-minute SLA. It's impossible. We'd have to hire 20,000 people tomorrow. So this gives me the ability to truly address all of those concerns and provide our sales reps with very high qualified opportunities that then they can go be more productive on. So this is super powerful. This statistic we have here, in just the 6 weeks we've deployed this in a small subset, relatively small subset of customers, is super powerful. 90% response time. You remember me telling you about reaching out to a potential vendor and not getting a response back, right? We're able to immediately respond to these customers at scale. When I say that, we literally could have 100,000 calls happen simultaneously at 3 in the morning, and every one of those calls get the exact same experience, which is a great experience. The most important statistic here, conversions increased by 20%, right? So think about that in your organization. Regardless of how many opportunities you have, if you can improve your conversions by 20%, that's pretty powerful. That's real money, that's real dollars, that's real transformation that you can capture, leveraging technology that you can trust. So this is truly a new dynamic, a new paradigm. It's disruptive, it's uncomfortable, as most are, but we're here to make it feel a little bit more safe for you. You can trust this technology. We've embedded all of the governance, all of the permissions, all of the things you need to feel secure in your business, that you can trust this. So speaking of trust, I've got a special guest, Bob Horn from Rico AI. He's the CRO, but he's more important than that. He's my friend. One, we're a customer of Rico in a very special way. They're a customer of ours, right? What are they doing for us? They happen to be providing us the technology that secures our AI cloud. So with that, I'd love to bring up on the stage Bob Horn. We're going to have a little discussion about AI and trust.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Bob, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Bob flew in and is going to fly right out. He's got customer demand, so he made a special trip for me, so I appreciate it. Listen, in your view, right, and we, you heard me say, we deal in nuance, right? We think we do, right?
For sure.
What do you think erodes trust the fastest with clients?
Yeah, and I love that you're starting with the word trust, right? That's probably the most important thing in sales, and probably the thing that's the biggest concern about leveraging AI and utilizing AI. And the way to start is the conversation around, do you know me and do you know my business? And so everything you do around implementing AI should be all about the customer, that the first thing you do is really establish that credibility that I've done my homework, I know you, I know my business. And so ensuring that that customer conversation starts with that, because that'll, if you erode trust, that first contact or the first minute or the first engagement that you have, then they're skeptical for the rest of the journey.
Right. So absolutely, we see that every day, right? And it's hard to do that at scale, right? You want to know as much as you can about a business. If you have 250,000 customers, that's hard. That's where AI potentially could, give you that capacity. With that said, do you think AI has created any, new roles or, redefined certain roles? And before you answer that, I'll say this. There's a premise out there that AI will help you reduce jobs, right? And that's the case in some organizations. I've seen it already. And at Monday, we think it's a productivity gain. So it gives us the opportunity to make a rep, in this case, 10 times more productive. That's hard to do without leveraging technology like this. No, it's actually impossible. So with that said, how should we think about roles in an AI world, especially where we sit, where we think it's a personal engagement?
Yeah, and look, every technology shift that we've had, and I have some gray hair, so I've seen quite a few technology shifts. Every one of them starts with, oh my God, my job's going to go away. And the reality is, you just have to adapt, and it's going to make you better. That's why we have technology shifts, right? Is the humans just need to adapt around it. So I loved your AI SDR. Same thing, right? Are SDRs going to have the same role that they used to have on the human side? No. Are they going to be leveraging a lot of technology? So in my case, our human SDRs are actually, dealing a lot with getting a lot of the signals out there, making sure that our systems are tuned properly. We have hyper-personalized scripts, and so instead of 10 SDRs, I can have one that has the power of 10. And so they've learned to adapt to be much more technologists. I think the biggest example is going to be when you get into enterprise sales, right? The way we always think about workflow and the way that we think about things in a very structured way with sets of rules, right? Lead comes in, I do my research, I look it up in my CRM, are they ICP, I custom build my presentation. All of that starts to go away because what agents really do is it shifts from the rules world to an outcome-based world. So now you've got your assistant that's tapping you on the shoulder and said, hey, this is going to be a great conversation. We've built the presentation for you. Here's the talk track to say, and the meeting's already scheduled. And so things that would take 2 to 3 hours, you can now do in 5 minutes. So if I'm a rep and my competitor is still taking 2 to 3 hours to prep for every meeting, and I can do it in 5 minutes, imagine what I can do in 10 minutes, in an hour. I'm just going to be better than everybody, and that's what's going to lead to more sales.
Yeah, the quality is off the charts in a finite amount of time versus a competitor who may spend 2 or 3 hours on not so great quality. I'm going to lead the witness a little bit here. So, I think our role now, in a lot of sellers in a lot of cases, is really orchestration, right? So if we think that, okay, we're more of orchestrating the business now, the sales engine of the company, how should we think about top performers, right? How should we think about performance management? What does good look like in this world?
Yeah, I mean, the top performers are going to, one, they're just going to embrace AI because the best ones figure out, how do I become significantly more productive? How do I have a better, more engaging conversation with my customer? Ivan, one of my top performing reps, we were prepping for a big meeting, 7-figure opportunity, and he basically took every transcript that customer had presented over the last 5 years. That customer had done a lot of keynotes and put it in a Gen AI tool, and it popped back. Here's the things that are important to him. Here's that person's pet peeves. Here's the talk track that we recommend. And then we massaged it a little bit because it was such an important opportunity. But that's what's going to make the reps that better. And that's the thing that the top performers are going to have to emulate.
Yeah, I love that. I like to say, a rep is now a franchise owner, so to speak, right? They have all these assets and tools at their disposal. They need to coordinate those resources, and then they can, leverage that to scale, which is phenomenal. It's just an exciting time. It's a little scary, but it is super exciting. So, speaking of scary, what would you say to someone who's very apprehensive to AI, is rejecting it in their organization, their role? What would you say to them?
Yeah, it's one of those where you almost have to be somewhat profound about it and out there, and it's you really need to adapt or find something different to go do because everybody else is going to be doing it. The one that does it best is going to be the most effective. So I would lean in, and you don't have to go all in, right? Just start with, even as we talked about the various roles, right? So RevOps is another role, and so I was talking to my RevOps person. I said, well, let's let Anthropic's Claude be our RevOps assistant. So we started to put all of our models in there, our sales stages, things like that. And I had an apprehensive RevOps person because that's their job. And started putting in, like, oh my God, this makes my life a lot easier. I have a lot more time to chase down my sales reps on putting in Salesforce and do some of those things. So,
because everyone loves going into Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
If you could just take that off our plate, they'd love you. Well, Bob, I greatly appreciate your insights. I appreciate you making this special trip for us. We appreciate the partnership because it truly is one. And I'll speak for everyone when they say thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me today. What a great venue. This is amazing.
So, before we leave, a couple of things I want to cover off on. It's my last time on stage, at least the main stage, while we're here at Elevate. First of all, thank you to all the customers who have participated. This has been fantastic, our largest Elevate ever. But we're going to blow the record out next year. That's one. Two, our partners. play such a critical role to everything we do, not only at Elevate, obviously, but how we go to market, how we show up as Monday. They are Monday representatives. They're part of the Monday family, so thank you for everything you do. And the, the unsung heroes are the production team, the events team. This stuff doesn't happen just like that. This goes on all year. They prepare for these things. And I think I speak for everyone when I say this has been an amazing event to this point. I don't want to jinx this. I know we got the rest of the day. But I did want to, special thanks to the events team. Great job. So, last thing, I want to go back to the AI story, because I only told you half of the story with Daniel and I. What you don't know is most engineers want to be sellers, but also most sellers want to be engineers. Did you know that? So when Daniel said, I'm going to go build a sales agent, I'll show you, we said, that's fine. We can now code with Vibe, so we don't need you. Again, thank you. I appreciate everyone's participation. This has been a great event so far. If you see me on the floor, please pull me aside. I'd love to tell you more about what we're doing, how we're leveraging AI in our business to make it better, and hopefully you'll do the same. So thank you. Have a great day.